Next exercise, we are looking at which law has the largest sum. So let's look at the example here first. So we are looking at the law, that should be the answer. And then depends on largest sum. So this question is a bit ambiguous, but let me show you quickly. I think I need to have at least 3 or 4, let's say 4 rows, so it'll be clear. So we have 2-dimensional array 4 by 2. Let me just type some random numbers, let's say 10. Some numbers here and there. Okay, let me name it as my array. Somehow I end up with 80 too many times, but it doesn't matter. So if you look at the first law, so we are looking at the law and the largest sum. So if you look at the first law, which is 0, let me type the index 0, 1, and then 2 and 3. So according to first law, we are looking at 10 plus 70 is going to be 80. Look at the second law. So if you look at here 80, then you need to compare with the next law. That means I will name it as a max. Then I'm going to compare with the second law and third law and fourth law. So second law, large sum, the sum of the second law is again happen to be 80. And then third law, 40 plus 80 is going to be 120. So largest sum at this point compared to 80, that will be third law. Fourth law happen to be same, 20 plus 60 is going to be 80. So if you compare with the first law with the second and third and fourth, answer will be third law, because it has a sum of 120. That's what we are trying to do at this point. So there's 80, 120, fourth law is 80. I will save it as a sum of law, each of them. So we have array reference variable called myArray, and then we have a 2 variable. One is max, the other one is sum of all. So what we are looking at is here, sum of low is greater than max. Then we are going to save the, I think I will save two variables, two index variable. And then of course I need to make a decision for max as well. So if the case, max will be max, there will be sum of low. So we have a new value as for max. Let me make it clear. If the condition is true, this is what we are trying to do. We get a new value for max. Also, we like to have index of that low. So I will say largest index of low equal to, again, low is represented as I. Okay, let me create a new Java class. We are looking at number 5. I will try to use the same example. So let me make a minor adjustment here. So we have int myArray with 4 rows and then 2 columns. And then repeat 3 times. And then let me adjust the numbers. Don't worry about it. When I test it, I will adjust the numbers to make sure that it works. So we are looking at 1, 2, 3 variable. Again, let me copy paste. Again, that's the structure we have. Max equal to 0. Then let's say sum of low. And then largest index of low. First one, we need to get value for max. So let's go through for loop. So J0. No matter whether we're looking at the first row, so my array 0, there are two columns, so we say length, and then max is depends on my array 0, and then depends on row, which is j. So we focus on repeating columns twice on the first row. That's why we are using j that refers to column. So we can get the sum of the first row to a variable called max. So let me just print the max. So 10 prime 70 should be 80. That's correct. Now we are going to look at the next step. Sum each rows, then compare with the max to try to find out is there any new value for max. Then we can get the index of that particular row as the largest index of row. So start with I. We are going through everything. Again, sum of row should be inside, otherwise it will overwrite the value. So it should be initialized for each row. That's why I put it here. Then now we are going to focus on columns. My array for each row, which is I, and then depends on number of columns, which is the length, j++. So sum of row will be my array I and j. So once we have a sum of row, then we can compare with the max. So if that is the case, max equal to sum of row, then we can get the largest index of row, in this case referring to I, where I is row index. So let me move that max so we can see actual result. So if you look at the first one, 120, that refers to south row. That is correct. Let's make a minor change to the second row. Let's say 100. So answer is supposed to be 100. Sorry. And then here we are going to look at 100. So answer should be 170. At least we know that max is working. So let's print it out largest index of row. Minor change here. It should be row index. let's print largest index of row. I will say row has the largest sum. The row has the largest sum is largest index of row. I know it sounds funny, but that's what we have at the moment. So 100 array is row index. So let me change to 200. That's going to be index number, sorry, row index number 3.